Welcome to Visionaries Global Media, your number one source for podcasting entertainment. Visionaries Global Media, envisioning excellence on a global scale.
This is Banned From Ringside.
Tonight on the Banned From Ringside podcast, NJPW has a brand spanking new, exciting champion. AEW has a big-time signee that comes in with Vicky Guerrero, the heater. And we have an NXT pay-per-view. Are you shaking your head at me during my intro?
No.
And NXT has a pay-per-view coming out of that and a whole bunch more tonight on the Banned From Ringside podcast. I saw it.
It's secure ass. I was not shaking my head at you.
I saw it. No, it's fine. No big deal.
Oh, here we go already.
The ditch at 9 to 5. It's time to feel alive. Hello, Mark. So welcome to the Banned From Ringside podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bill Vagey, a.k.a. Ball Smart Village.
That's a St. Louis one.
Little local flavor for you guys. St. Louis has had some good wrestling news this past week, so that's a little local flavor.
Right. That's great.
And over here in Bill, Illinois, Two Beer Zach Coleman.
Two Beer, talk to you. What's going
And
on?
out there, I don't know what just happened to my microphone. Out there in Edwardsville, Illinois, we have Two Beer Zach Bowman. What's going on, Two Beer?
Only in Edwardsville for a few more days longer. I am just in pure misery move mode. I'm packing my 3-bedroom house for a move across the country, and I'm also packing for a 2-week vacation before we move out across the country. They're taking all our shit in U-Haul pods, and we're driving out on our own and taking 2 weeks to get out there. So I'm like, there's a lot happening, and I needed a break. So I'm glad this happened.
Well, tell everybody where you're going, so that way we can all kind of, commiserate in your misery.
Yeah, I'm going to Portland, Oregon.
So
no house, no job, just a meager savings account and a heart full of hope.
God,
but I
just got teary-eyed.
I did also have a job interview like yesterday, which added to the stress. So yeah.
No, that should be a good thing, man. That's potential, employment on the horizon.
Let me introduce everybody. And sitting right across from me at his beautiful South City apartment in steamy, I think it was steamy last time I was here too. It is fucking humid here in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Jason Cornelius Bell, what's going on, JCB?
Oh, same old shit. Allow us to bow our heads as I read from the latest edition of the Banned From Ringside podcast, volume 209, chapter 3, verse 14, and the good smart saith, hashtag boo the heels. It is all good, baby. Listen, share, subscribe, repeat. Interesting week of wrestling all the way around. I mean, even at the end with the NWA coming out and saying that they're going to have the all-women show here in August. It's even before that. It was still really interesting. It's a lot of ground to cover. Got predictions at the end. I'm ready to do the damn thing.
Well, not only we can just say it right here because we are based in St. Louis, as listeners know.
Or if you don't know.
NWA has announced that they're going to do, I think, 4 nights in a row at Wrestling at the Chase. The last time Wrestling at the Chase was here in St. Louis is 1983. And for those of you that aren't familiar, Wrestling at the Chase was kind of the heart and soul of NWA. My grandfather used to talk about Wrestling at the Chase. My dad used to talk about Wrestling at the Chase, even though my dad only went there when he was a kid. But it is the St. Louis area, as far as I can tell, and I'm even not even on my wrestling Twitter page. I'm on my regular one. People are excited about this. This seems like a pretty big deal, so it's pretty cool. And also, St. Louis is also getting Full Gear in November. I think November 6th, right? So
sounds right, yeah. Tickets still not on sale just yet. I'm waiting patiently for that announcement so we can scoop up the tickets. But yeah, the Wrestling at the Chase deal is 4 days from the 28th of August to the 31st. It didn't say on this article what day the actual women's event is. I'm not sure they set a date yet.
I think it's August 26th through 28th.
No, it's the 28th
through the 31st. I'm looking at it right now.
Because that's when my child, if my child comes on time, will be exactly 5 days old. So that's pretty cool. So,
Okay, yeah,
you know,
we need to make
if he's anything like you, he'll come pretty early.
we did not set that up. We did not set that up. You know, I went to Zach's house on Sunday. I hope nobody who was there is listening to this, because I went to Zach's house on Sunday, and I had a couple fireballs on the way there, and
Why wouldn't you?
I was getting ready to have a good time. My wife's pregnant; she's my DD, so I'm gonna get a little fucked up. You know,
Why wouldn't you?
I get there, I'm like, "Hey Zach, I got some fireballs for you." You know what this motherfucker tells me? I ain't drinking.
What?
That's what he said. I ain't drinking.
Well, okay, so what's the excuse?
You
What's
should
the
have seen me
excuse?
Friday. You should have seen me Friday, but you didn't because you left work way too early. And I went to your work and I drank so much. And then I went down the street and I drank even more. And then I took an Uber to the hill and I threw up all over an Airbnb.
Motherfucker, who stays at work after they get off? Fuck you, man. That's not even the point. The point is, I went into your bathroom to the house that you're getting ready to move out of, and I took a big hit of weed. And it might have been more weed than I was ready to take, because I was high as fuck as I walked back out into that party. And man, I tell you what, I had a great time.
Dude, everybody loved you. It was pretty funny. Like a couple
Gee, I
people
wonder
were
why.
like, "Is that your brother?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Nah.
Real quick, back to the wrestling at the Chase. I've read like some history about it because it's St. Louis, and like Phil said, like our grandparents talk about it, our parents talk about it. It was such a mega cultural thing. But if you guys are looking into like seeing a little bit more about it, or reading a little bit more, Larry Madisick has a couple really good books. So Sam Muchnick was like the promoter, and like the thing about wrestling at the Chase and Sam Muchnick's part of the NWA was like everything made sense. It was like such tight booking. You never did anything just to do it. You did it to set up something else, and it's just kind of a lost art. And it was very classy. The Chase Park Plaza is like the nicest hotel in town. So like these people are like going to wrestling and
Still might be.
and like, yeah, it still might be. And like they're wrestling underneath chandeliers and shit. Just awesome. So anyway, very, very cool. Very excited. Of course, all of this happens when I'm leaving St. Louis. So, you know, fuck everybody and fuck everything.
And without further ado, let's get to that 3 count. Kick us off, Zach. Zach is only with us for a limited amount of time, so Zach's going to take the 1 count here.
Yeah, as soon as my brother-in-law and sister-in-law get off work and show up and start making me do stuff again.
That's fair.
So, yeah. But 1 count is my boy, Shingo Takagi. That belt has not looked better on anybody else. And I tell you what, Ibushi is a beautiful human being, but something about that belt fits on Shingo, and it's like the first time I've actually liked the belt is seeing that dude in a very well-fitting suit wearing that motherfucker. And classic match. I mean, maybe I haven't decided yet. I think I liked their previous match a little bit more, but this was still a fantastic match. These are 2 guys, Kazuchika Okada, one of the best to ever do it. Shingo Takagi, I think also one of the best to ever do it. This title reign might actually kind of put him on the map for future historians, but I think otherwise he might be kind of underrated, right? Because he's not the flashiest. He doesn't have like the big world heavyweight championship title runs. He was in a relatively smaller promotion, Dragon Gate. That's where he really cut his chops. But now that he's been in New Japan, he's been booked really strong for the last few years. Part of arguably the hottest stable, LIJ, but kind of in Naito's shadow. Yeah, the hottest stable.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
Get it right.
Take it easy.
Get it right, motherfucker.
But he's one of those guys like Ishii where you're just glued to the TV whenever he's on. Like, you're a wrestling fan, and they talk about it in the commentary. Like, if you're a wrestler, like Kevin Kelly always says, like, Shingo Takagi has monitor sellouts. Like, all the boys in the back are glued to Shingo's matches because they want to see what he's going to do. And I'll be goddamned if he did not upstage arguably like the greatest wrestler in the world. And granted, Okada is coming from a back injury, which they worked the back a lot. They worked it into the story of the match. He's had a rough year. He started out, with a feud with Yujiro that was not good. But, I mean, he just looks so goddamn good in this match. And Okada is so great about pacing a match. I think this thing went 36, 39 minutes. It was over 35, less than 40.
36:06.
Felt like, I don't know, maybe 20. Like it just breezed by. And these guys start wrestling for, the first few minutes, just like actual, like real deal, like chain wrestling. Starts out a little bit slow, so it's kind of paced like, it's going to be a longer match. Then they start picking up the pace, and Shingo takes him outside, starts working the back against the apron, against the rail, does a Made in Japan that looked like it murdered on the floor.
That made me wonder. I mean, of course, Okada is playing up the back injury a lot, but if his back was that fucked up,
it's more fucked up now.
Well, that Made in Japan would have killed him.
Would they have done the spot?
Right.
But yeah, they get back in the ring, and then they start doing the counters. And, like, we've seen how great Shingo is with counter wrestling with Will Ospreay. I think that's some of the best counter wrestling I've ever seen in my entire life is Shingo and Will Ospreay. And Okada kept right up with him. Those lariats, like the pumping bomber that he gave Okada, Jesus Christ, I thought he decapitated him. And the reverse rainmakers, him like giving him the rainmaker, and it all, Death Valley drivers, and like, I mean, I'm like going through the match, like that's how like well thought out and well paced this match is like I could almost tell you, even though I haven't watched it in a couple days, like how this match was laid out. It was like that memorable and that well done. Like I can tell you like when Okada's drop kick came. You know what I mean? It's just like they're so good at what they do. And I think this was the right move because Okada was not going to be taking it off Ospreay. And whenever life, throws you lemons, you make lemonade. And what are you going to do? You have Okada, who he's great. He's used to being that guy. But, like, look at all the fresh championship matches that you can have with Shingo. Tanahashi just beat Shingo for that never open weight title not too long ago. You can put Tanahashi in there, maybe help sell.
And Ibushi's up first.
Show that's coming up. Ibushi's up first. Ospreay comes back. That's an instant classic again. You can throw Ishii in there. You can then do like the like stable ones that you wouldn't normally see, like throw Sonata or Naito in there, and like you're gonna have some really great matches. So I think not just because I'm a Shingo mark, I think this is a great move. I'm actually again very excited about New Japan in a way that I haven't been in a couple months. So props to them for having a good show. Second biggest show of the year. Dominion's great for that. Next to the Tokyo Dome show on January 4th, it's the second biggest. It's like the Royal Rumble or the SummerSlam of New Japan. So,
JCB, what you think?
I can't disagree with anything that Tubular has said up to this point. I'll go kind of backwards and then go back to where the initial point is. Just kind of piggybacking off of potential opponents. If you said, before this match who your G1 winners would be, Shingo would probably be at the top of the list. Now he's the champion.
Still could be.
It's been a while since we've had the champion win the G1. What has only happened like twice? Sounds right? Omega.
I think so.
And I can't think who did it beforehand, but I think it's only been 2 times. Anyway, let's just say for the sake of argument, it doesn't happen again. That's where I think Naito comes into play for the fact that you do have that interfaction rivalry that will brew. I mean, I don't care what anybody says at this point. Naito and Sonata going for the tag titles sounds good. It's a good distraction, but ultimately, Naito is going to want to have his name marked in the history, not only being IWGP Intercontinental Champion, Double Champion, IWGP Heavyweight Champion, the whole shebang. This is going to have to be something where if Shingo holds it long enough, we'll cross that bridge. I think Okada is going to have to get ran back. I think that's the other guy now that could get, if he wins the G1, that's the other guy that can get that rematch. But like Tubular said, there's so many different new opponents. I was thinking not even immediately, but Suzuki was one of the guys that I was thinking about that could get a title shot because he and Shingo had some great matches going over the Neverweight Championship. So I'm not going to lie. I was shocked when it happened. I watched it live. I was like, oh, shit. And I sat there for like 2 seconds. I was like, damn, this shit just happened. But I wasn't too surprised because Okada isn't the Okada that we knew when this podcast started. This was a dominant champion, healthy as fuck, taking all contenders out. This isn't the same guy. I think at some point, and I'll pass it over, the Rainmaker finisher comes back because he couldn't finish Shingo with the money clip. The Rainmaker came out and didn't finish him, but it was, if he kept with it, that's how he's always won matches in the past. He never came away from the Rainmaker. If Okada wins it, I think it's going to be on the heels of the Rainmaker finisher. Another story for another time. Shingo is a great move just for the fact that we're doing different things. It's not just going to Okada. Now,
I think it'll work out better than Evil.
Oh, yeah.
Last time we got thrown an audible.
Right. Okay. This one is going to work because not only the wrestler is better, but I think you have, like you said, the potential opponents can really start to boggle the imagination. If Jay White comes back, there's another one right there.
A lot to unpack there. First of all, I'll say first and foremost that this is the right move. I watched this match with no spoilers. Completely expected Okada to go over.
Of course.
You know, like Shingo, it's pretty rare that a wrestling promotion strikes while the iron hot when the guy is like, he's on fire.
Right.
You know,
a loss to Will Ospreay wasn't the worst thing that happened.
And Shingo. No, and that was a match of the year candidate. And this was the time to strike while the iron was hot. This is when WWE fucked up Braun Strowman. Like, you got to lean into it a little bit and then ride it to the top. You know, it's like you're power bouncing somebody on a fucking trampoline. It's like he's getting ready. He's coming down. Now fucking power bounce him up. I was shocked. What is Shingo's finisher called? The Kiss of the Dragon or
the last dragon? Not the last dragon.
I was like, well, they're gonna have Okada kick out of this, and this is gonna suck. And then it landed, and I was like, holy shit, fucking nice.
Wait,
so
this is the 3 count? What?
This is by far the right move.
You think so?
Oh, I do too. Yes, I do, because I think that if Okada wins again, if Okada comes out of Dominion as the champion, there's no buzz. It's like, oh, well, this is, of course Okada has it. Well, then Shingo has it, who's kind of been I know everybody that watches NJPW is a bunch of marks like us, but like, this is really the marks pick. And he has been
on the cusp, it feels like.
Right. And Kevin Kelly said something during the match. He's like, he has wrestled far more singles matches in the last 365 days than anybody else. And I think they said he was 32-3 or
something like that.
It
was a ridiculous stat.
Yeah, it was a ridiculous stat, which
he's only lost a few. Yeah.
And which I really like Kevin Kelly throwing that in there. This was a good match.
Shout out to Chris Sampson on Twitter.
Yeah, that's a good. That's a really good follow if you like New Japan.
Oh yeah, Chris Sampson is fucking awesome.
It's New Japan, and you like the numbers on top of it because that's basically the statistician for New Japan. So I mean, for me personally, New Japan to me is number one, and if you start throwing numbers out there to kind of build the match, that's really all I need. And just roll the ball out and just let him play.
And who better to put him over?
I bet Chris Sampson fucks at least 4 times a week.
Yes, yeah, that's probably true. Yeah.
I'll just tweet him.
I was going to say 5 or 6.
Yeah, I was about to say, see what it is. I'll say, come on, man. You better get it out the way now. It's going to say a new tour starts on Monday.
I bet he fucks 1 less time than Adam Page. That's it.
Okada is the right guy to put Shingo over.
True story.
And now you have, like you said,
Well, Shingo put him over last time really well, and he put over the money clip. It was the first time that we actually believed in the money clip.
all these fresh matchups, though, for the championship that can happen coming out of this. It's very cool. Shingo obviously fucking rules. It wasn't my favorite match. I think that those guys had a better match. When was it? In the G1?
New Japan Cup was their most recent.
Oh, New Japan
match.
Cup. Yeah, sorry. That money
G1
clip.
light.
That money clip just drags the match down. Like, when he puts on that money clip, it's like, dude, if you have a submission that you have to apply 4 or 5 times a match and still nobody taps out to it, maybe it's a shitty fucking submission. It just looks like you're stretching out the shoulders real good, man. Like, come here. Hey, Okada, come here and put the fucking money clip on me, man. All I do is sit over a computer all day. That looks really nice. Looks like it stretches out your delts a little bit, you know? Like, come here and put the money clip on me.
You ain't shit.
Fuck, I forgot what else I was going to say.
That's what you get.
I love the decision, though, because NJPW had been, I don't want to say getting stale, but, there's Will Ospreay having to vacate the title left a bad taste. Even Will Ospreay coming up and getting the title, there was a couple parts that I wasn't a fan of at all.
I agree.
And so I was a little down on the product, and it sucks being down on NJPW because NJPW for the last 3 years, for me at least, has been, the saving grace. Like whenever you get a little disillusioned with the pro wrestling business, at least NJPW comes around every once in a while and picks you back up, and you're like, oh, this is what a fucking great match could be. This is the other thing I was going to say, and we've been heaping praise on it, so it's fair. Not every single main event match has to be over 30 minutes. Because truthfully, as a viewer, I don't really pay that much attention to the first 10 minutes of any match. I just know that the last 7 or 8 minutes are going to be the most fire shit I've ever seen. So there were a lot of headlocks at the beginning of this match, and it's like, come on.
That's also WWE programming you. Like, you've been programmed from WWE because that's how they lay out matches to where nothing matters until the last couple minutes. But with New Japan, you can always expect.
I will push back on that. I will push back on that like a motherfucker, because when Brock Lesnar and Bill Goldberg, when they were having that huge match at SummerSlam or whatever it was.
Oh my God, the guys that have the 2 shortest matches in WWE history.
No, well, Goldberg does, but this was Goldberg's first match back. Hold on a second. At least they gave me something that surprised the fuck out of me, because I'll never forget where I was when Bill Goldberg speared Lesnar and it was over. Now listen, of course,
that's once in a lifetime opportunity to do that.
They don't.
I mean, it's just a different mentality to approaching match design is all.
Yeah, but now listen, on the same card, we had Ibushi and Jeff Cobb have a really tight banger of a 14.5-minute match.
Felt like 20-25.
Not a waste, but there wasn't a wasted sake, or not a wasted.
No, but no, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I ain't stretching imagination.
Please don't.
I'm just going to say that even though I can't, I mean, shit, it's on tape. You go look at it for yourself. It just felt like this one was a little longer just because the pace was a little slower. There was until the end, it never really picked up, and I don't have a problem with that. Jeff Cobb is not supposed to be, running around across the ring.
I feel like Cobb has. Cobb has made strides since he came back in the first G1 that he was in, where he kind of understands more that, because there are big spots, and there were big spots in that match, and the big spots need to be spread out a little bit more. And it felt like Jeff Cobb, when he first came into NJPW, he would have tried, if he was going to wrestle Ibushi, he would have tried to wrestle an Ibushi match. And this time, it felt like Ibushi was wrestling a Jeff Cobb match, and man, that match was fucking great.
No, I agree with that. Totally agree. Go ahead, Two Beer.
Oh, I was just going to say, as far as the just like the match layouts and stuff, like I would normally agree with you as far as like they don't always have to be over 30 minutes, especially during the evil days where you'd have like 30 minutes and like 15 of it was like run-ins and shit. That shit is obnoxious.
Oh, you know what? Sorry, that was the other thing I was going to say is that putting the belt on Evil wasn't necessarily the bad thing. It's the way that Evil was booked after he won the belt, which is the bad thing. Sorry, go ahead.
Totally. Yeah, exactly. But as far as leading into the Cobb Ibushi match, that's funny that you mentioned that it was 14 because it didn't feel like it. So, like, if you would have asked me, I'd have said like 20, 21 minutes. Like, you know, and I didn't look it up or anything. I just watched the show. But what I loved about that match was I was expecting danger. I was expecting hard hitting, and we got some hard hitting. Like between the Bomayes and the
Kamagoye.
Kamagoye, yeah. Sorry, I had too many yays in there. But
you got any
between
yay?
those, not today. But
You holding?
probably use some with this move. You Holden McNeil. But Holden Caulfield. Anyway, the things that you would expect to be dangerous, like they teased, right? Like Ibushi's big German suplex that he does, like off like the second rope, and I was like, oh my god, he's gonna kill Jeff Cobb, but he never got him up, and then Jeff Cobb like reverses it into, oh my god, he's gonna fucking suplex him outside of the ring off the top.
Yeah.
But they just teased it, and then they turned it, into that Frankensteiner, which is just a very athletic Jeff Cobb doing a front flip off the like top rope, which is totally fine, right? Like it's a very flashy move, but it's a safe bump for like a guy like Jeff Cobb despite his size. But like I expected it to be like a lot worse, kind of like in Ibushi Naito, like where you're just like, oh my god, they're gonna kill each other. But this match felt longer, but not in a bad way. Like whereas the Okada match felt shorter, but not in a bad way. This felt longer, not in a bad way.
Yeah, you felt like you got your money's worth.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of that match. I just think that Jeff Cobb is he's a really fun monster.
No, I agree.
Come a long way since we saw him in the Alton VFW.
Yeah, no shit. Wow, good call.
I called it there, though. I remember saying to you guys, I remember turning to both of you guys, and I was like, one day this guy's going to fight Ibushi, and it's going to be fire. And you guys don't even realize. I was on top of it.
2021.
Yeah, no shit.
I said that.
Yeah, I was going to say, he even called the pandemic, too.
I did tweet that he was the highlight of that show, even though he was like right in the mid card. I did tweet that he was the highlight of that show, and he liked my tweet.
And that's Jeff Cobb is one of those guys, and he did it a couple times in this match that he's doing moves, moonsault aside, off the top where you're talking about. Well, Frankensteiner in this case, but he did like a standing moonsault or whatever. I mean, come on, dude. Jeff Cobb ain't supposed to be doing that shit. I mean, come on, really?
No, I actually thought that. Like, we've seen it a bunch from him, but I'm like, how long is he going to keep being able to pull this off? Because eventually he's just going to be like a Suzuki, right? But like a smaller Suzuki or a bigger Suzuki.
Bigger Suzuki, where he just, he just mauls guys around. Which I don't have.
So like, how long? I was like, when's the last moonsault did you see? It's kind of like whenever you pick up your kid for the last time and you don't actually know it's the last time that you hold them, but at one point you pick up your kid and you never pick them up again because they get too big. And that's a sad scene. And one day we're going to see a moonsault from Jeff Cobb, and it's going to be the last one ever. And he's probably the only one that's going to know that.
No shit, because I mean he's been doing it all his life. So I mean he'll be the one to be like, oh shit, I didn't rotate all the way over. I didn't have a problem with this match. I kind of wish, selfishly, that Jeff Cobb won, but Ibushi winning makes too much sense. I thought that.
Especially when you found out that Shingo won.
Well, I mean, you could have played it either way. I thought that, especially being the match before the main event, the winner might give away who won the main event, and it really didn't. It was obviously Ibushi, and either way you slice or dice it, you could have made it an argument. Okada should win because of this reason. Shingo should win because of this reason. So, I mean, even coming into the main event, it was still suspenseful. Like I said, for me, I'm not going to lie. I sat there when it happened. I was just like, oh, shit, this just happened.
All right, so I'll ask Zach this first. How many assuming that Shingo is still champ, barring any injuries or anything, how many realistic possibilities are there for G1 winners?
That's what I love about the G1. I think there are many. There's always at least 4. Because, the guys that are in the G1, like, you got to think Jay White's a possibility. Ibushi's a possibility. Shingo is a possibility. Oh, I just got myself excited.
I was about to say, what? Breaking news.
Shingo's a possibility. Yeah. And, you can't put it past them to, you can't count Tanahashi out. You know what I mean? Like, even still. They had kind of some rough booking with him. There's always at least 4 and like maybe more, and then it starts to weed out, and there's always like some surprise turns and stuff. But yeah, even like Sonata going to the finals last year. That's what I love about the G1 is it's just so unpredictable.
Jason,
I'm going down the list.
Zach
you didn't say Jeff Cobb, so I mean,
Zach didn't even name the one that I was thinking is the front runner, unless you
Okada.
No,
I mean,
because that could heat him back up.
Yeah, you could.
I think Okada probably needs to take a breather.
Cobb is a guy that I wouldn't mind seeing winning the G1. I just think that would be a lot. Just on the roster of New Japan that I can think of right now, I just threw out Cobb, Naito, obviously, because I'm that mark.
Well, hold on. Naito is the one that I think really makes sense because Shingo and Naito are both in LHA, right? And Naito's always been the leader, right? Now Shingo has the belt. So, can't they mine a little bit of drama having Shingo be the big man and then Naito win the G1 and then all of a sudden we got Shingo Naito maybe at Wrestle Kingdom, maybe before, but
no, it would be a Wrestle Kingdom match. I mean, Jibir, correct me if I'm wrong on this one. The winner of the G1.
Yeah, he's got to defend the contract
at Wrestle Kingdom. But then we would let's just assume, for the sake of argument, Naito wins the G1. He retains
I know you like assuming that for the sake of argument, don't you?
Of course I do, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't beat Shingo. Yeah, duh. That just leads us up to Shingo and Naito. That, to me, and even still, as much as I'm a Naito mark, I would still expect Shingo to win because that would be arc on this journey possibly leading back to Will Ospreay.
If Shingo beats Naito at Wrestle Kingdom, he's a made man.
I think if you play your cards right, he could be made before January 2022.
It's exciting.
I want him to take it that far because I don't know.
Honestly, I think he can.
Ospreay coming back, and he can carry it, and he's the kind of guy that can carry this promotion. Because why do we watch New Japan? We watch it for the great fucking matches. Who gives the best fucking matches? Shingo fucking Takagi.
Yep.
Right.
I mean, that's hard to argue with.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say
there has been 5 IWGP champions in the last 365 days, which is, I think the most ever. I'm pretty sure. I saw a stat somewhere, and 4 of them were the first time they held it for the first time ever in those last 365 days. Not title changes, but title holders.
Evil.
Yeah.
Will Ospreay, obviously. Shingo.
Ibushi. It's
a lot of, it sounds like when we talk about it, it's a lot of turnover, but if you stop and think about it and you do the timeline.
Well, there's also things that they couldn't help.
Right.
They can't help COVID.
Right.
They can't help Will Ospreay getting hurt.
Right.
But
we have to move along.
Sure.
And in this scenario, even if, let's just say for the sake of argument, Will Ospreay doesn't get hurt, it's still 3 in 365 days. That's crazy.
And Will Ospreay had me very excited again, and Shingo makes me even more excited because Will Ospreay's already talking shit on Twitter to Shingo. Yeah, I know.
God bless that dude.
Always on stage, man.
Up. Heal your ass up.
Kayfabe always, man.
There's also something that we haven't talked about because with the Leo Rush retirement, him saying that New Japan had given AEW like the blessing to sign him for like North American dates and such. Like it kind of shows the working relationship that we were talking about, that we've been dreaming about. So like, I mean, there's also an opportunity, and I think if COVID was not a thing, we might actually get this to where we have like a continuation or a conclusion to the Ibushi Omega storyline, right? And how crazy would that be for like, you know, Omega to, you know, win a G1 or just show
Fingers
up
crossed,
at, you know,
come on.
I mean, that would just be phenomenal, right? Like, so like I think if COVID was not a thing, it would be even more exciting than it is currently.
I'm just going to throw this out there and take it for what it's worth. It can still be done. It might not have titles on the line, but you can still do it, okay? Stone Cold and The Rock is one of my favorite WrestleMania matches.
You're saying you'd still watch it?
I might just stay up and watch it, okay? Stone Cold and Rock is one of my favorite WrestleMania matches, and it had no titles on the line. I think that was up in Toronto. It was Stone Cold's last match. No titles on the line. They built it up to where Rock was like, look, I've done everything but one thing. I haven't beat Stone Cold at WrestleMania. So what's up? You want to do this? And that's basically all you got to do. If anybody that watches New Japan on a regular basis, you tell them Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi are going to fight on this date at this time, please. They don't give a fuck if the title's on the line or not. They're going to be there.
All right, let's get to that 2 count.
1, 2, 3.
2 JCB. What's the 2 count?
I'm so used to doing the 1 count. You caught me in mid-drink. 2 count is going to be AEW on Friday night. Biggest takeaway for me on AEW. I'm sorry.
I just want to tell you guys that this week I actually watched everything. Everything. I watched New Japan. I watched AEW. I watched
Friday.
NXT.
When did you watch it?
I didn't watch Raw.
Okay, well, yeah,
nobody watches Raw.
I watched
and
it.
I watched SmackDown.
Okay, you watched all the good shit. Yeah, you had a good way you were wrestling.
I did.
AEW
All today, starting at 7 a.m. I did it all today.
I'm like 2 a day. Shit, give me a break. On the week of when we close on the 4th of July, that's gonna be some shit. Another story for another time. AEW, obviously for me, the biggest takeaway is not only the fallout from Double or Nothing, but Andrade coming back, making his debut on AEW, really to me presents a lot of interesting scenarios, because now you obviously have the Andrade Kenny Omega AAA championship match at I can't think of I was trying to think of the name of the event. But now you can have
Triple Mania,
thank you. Now you can have Andrade chasing literally the AEW championship on AEW turf against Kenny Omega as well. Not a huge fan of Vicky Guerrero. She gave a little heat, but I wanted to hear more from Andrade himself. Wasn't a lot, but for me, he said what he needed to say, and he said it well enough to where I don't think we had to troll him after the fact, okay? From that point, I think we had a pretty good AEW show from the start. Go ahead, Bill. I see you over there peeking. Just go ahead and take over.
No, I was just thinking about Vicky Guerrero. It kind of made me miss Tia Trinidad, who was a perfect act. I mean, Andrade El Idolo? Is that what they're calling him now?
Yeah. It's
Andrade El Idolo.
It's the idol.
I mean, I didn't take Spanish, but yeah, I get it. Yeah, I know what it means.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Jason.
Hey, I'm here for you.
He's a guy that probably needs a valet. And I'm not here to talk about how broken his English is, because the guy is such a talent, and he came out and looked like such a star. I just found out today that when he came out, that audience had already watched like 5 hours of wrestling. So it makes sense that the
pop wasn't as big as
wasn't as big as it should have been. And I'm also kind of the person who every time something gets released, it's like AEW can't take everybody.
No.
But AEW Andrade is a perfect guy for AEW. Yes, it is exciting. I like him with Vicky Guerrero. I don't love it, but Vicky Guerrero is a heat machine. Mm-hmm. I don't know how they're going to make Andrade a heel except for to have Vicky next to him. So if they're going to make him a heel, they have to have Vicky next to him. That's what I think. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Didn't Trinidad quietly re-sign with NXT or with WWE?
Yeah, she's back with WWE at this point.
Yeah. So that's out, which is a bummer because that would have been a better act. But it makes sense. Like, if you want to put him with somebody, I mean, the only, downside is I can see people saying, oh, you have, Vicky Guerrero, old WWE, Andrade, old WWE, right? But I feel like that's just kind of splitting hairs.
That's really short-sighted, though. They're both very good. They're both really good at what they do. I know you're not saying that.
It's not like the WWE, got both of them from the start and then, groomed them up. They went other places.
I will criticize AEW for being too WCW.
For people running out, that's WCW.
But on this podcast, I have criticized AEW for being too WCW. That is not what this seems like to me. This seems like a fresh pairing. Vicky Guerrero is obviously very good at what she does. She's been doing it for a long time.
It makes sense for AEW to get Andrade.
And
I'm sorry,
Andrade is he's a slam dunk as long as they book him right.
And that's the bad thing.
Totally. I'm just anxious to see what he does. I'm excited for the matchup, and especially because he's already going to be put in a main event position vicariously by being in the main event in Mexico. That's not going to be ignored on AEW television, regardless of the outcome. So it's not like, he's going to kind of suffer and kind of Miro had a long time of what's he doing, right? That's not going to be a thing with Andrade, I don't think.
I hope not, because they paired Miro with Kip Sabian, who is fine.
No, I think that was Miro wanted to do his thing. This is something that he wanted to do, and then Miro's
promo this week, the first thing he said was he wanted to shout out to his wife for being hot, which...
that's just him trying to get her a job.
Yeah, but it's also him being funny. He really does have so much personality.
It was so dry. He never cracked a smile.
That's his personality, though.
That's what the funny part about it.
That's what makes his personality so fun. And how spoiled are we that the lead off of this isn't Penta and Pac going against the Young Bucks at the beginning to do 12 minutes in a fucking great match? And Eddie Kingston comes out to make the save for Death Triangle, and the Young Bucks were just making fun of Eddie Kingston while they went to the back. They're such good heels. Such good heels.
Can I say?
And we get a continuation of a storyline because Eddie Kingston had, previous business with Penta and Phoenix, and then
they addressed it.
He had to meet with Pac. Yeah, exactly. So this is good storytelling.
Yeah, when Eddie Kingston goes, hey, I know you guys hate me, but the enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's just checking back in.
That's all I need.
Yeah,
just
check back in and make that
one little thing, and it totally.
Just so you don't treat me like an idiot.
Okay.
Just so you know that exactly. I remember that.
Okay.
Exactly. We don't all have amnesia, something actually happened,
like
and
Vince
we
does.
all remember it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's selective amnesia on top of that.
All right, so...
all right, it's sad that I'm going to have to do this during the AEW talk, but I'm going to have to get out of here. But thank you guys for having me on, and I will talk to you next week. I don't know if I'll be on, but I'll be on the road, so we'll see.
Hey, thanks for being a guest, and come back anytime.
Thanks.
Be careful, Samir.
All right, so... we'll go backwards a little bit.
Okay.
They announced Mark Henry as an AEW signee. What do you think about that?
I don't have a huge problem with that. I think this is going to be more backstage for guys like the Lance Archers of the world. Not like he needs it, but more so Powerhouse Hobbs. Making them feel bigger, larger than life. Be the big guys that we want them to be. That said, I don't necessarily want him to be in the ring. If he jumps in the ring, so be it. It should be a one-off at the most. I'm not sure how he's going to do on commentary. Commentary's different. I mean, you and I tried to do that shit, when we did it, when we first did the Glory Pro, just kind of fucking around. And it's not easy, okay?
No, it's not easy.
I'm kind of concerned with that. Ultimately, I think this is going to be more backstage than up front. We saw how Christian, did the job for Jungle Boy. If Mark Henry gets in the ring, I think that would be something along those same lines.
Well, hopefully. I mean, there'd be no other reason to have Mark Henry in AEW. I mean, Mark Henry's never been a workhorse.
No.
He's always been...
He's been champion, so we don't have to cross that box off.
He's been cool.
Yeah.
Mark Henry's cool. I like Mark Henry a lot. I don't see what the place for him in AEW is.
When we thought when Paul White was going to be in the Battle Royal and they gave us Leo Rush instead, I think that should be at least a cue of what could be happening going forward.
QT Marshall and
go ahead. I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
Just don't know what they're doing with Cody. So QT Marshall and the go against Cody and Lee Johnson. They go over. Cody and Lee Johnson lose. They end up, beating up Cody, right?
Yeah.
I think I watched this, right?
Yeah.
And then, a Go-Go looks the part. Seems like a cool dude. Seems green.
Yeah, I mean, this is his fourth match?
Yeah, so it's kind of like, why'd they put him in this position to begin with?
The booking is now jacked up, okay? In their singles match at Double or Nothing, the right hand didn't put Cody down. In this match, right before QT Marshall got the pin, Ogogo yaks Cody in the mouth, and now all of a sudden,
right,
QT gets the pin. Classic, heel 101, QT, I did it by myself. Let's not, talk about how the fact that Ogogo just, put Cody asleep. But now to me, there's where the booking is the problem. It's the same punch, but it's two different results. Okay? If you'd have just did it one way or the other, I don't care which way you do it. For me personally, I would have just had Ogogo go over at Double or Nothing and just been done with it. It's not like Cody is really it's not like Cody's really in the main event scene. So at that point, when you do it again on Friday night, it's reinforced. This hand is no joke. QT takes the fucking pin. Everybody walks away happy.
Just make Cody the heel. Like, why is Cody even a babyface anymore?
People love Cody. I mean, all bullshit aside, people love Cody.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, that's basically what I got.
No, I'll let it go. It's a personal thing of mine. It just seems to me like he's better as a heel. I remember him as dashing Cody Rhodes and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and I know that it's kind of Cody's company as far as most people see it, but the American Dream stuff, the way he came out looking like...
When him and Adam Cole were basically running Bullet Club side by side, I think that was one of the fun portions of wrestling because it's a heel faction just running amok and everybody's in chase mode. You build baby faces in that scenario. And that was, to me, was watching Cody at least have fun. And that was, fairly shortly after he left WWE. So I guess ultimately you can take that for what it's worth. But I agree totally. He's not the worst baby face, but I think he's better as a heel.
Inner Circle comes out, cuts a promo. Everybody talks except for help me out.
Ortiz?
Yeah, Ortiz. Everybody talks except for Ortiz. I don't know why Ortiz ain't talking. But everybody talks. Everybody has their part. Jack Swagger challenges Wardlow to a...
Wait, can you call him by his fucking AEW name, for God's sake?
Wardlow? Wardlow.
Oh, Jake Hager.
Oh, did I say Jack Swagger?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Jake Hager. Sorry, I mean, old habits.
Yeah, right.
Old habits. I loved him. I loved him as Jack Swagger.
That's what the funny part about it is. It was so...
I loved him.
Freudian, you didn't even know it.
Jake Hager challenges Wardlow. Is it Wardlow? Wardlow. Wardlow to an MMA fight in the cage. I don't know if that's going to be... I assume that's going to be a kayfabe fight. I don't think it's going to be a shoot fight. I just watched the Brawl for All.
Yeah, shit.
You guys know what I'm talking about. I'm ready for this feud to be done. I know that they're going for a rubber match. Do you think they're going to go for a Jericho versus MJF singles match as the rubber match? Because they made it sound like when Santana called out FTR, he called out FTR specifically.
Yeah.
Sean Spears just got buried. And
bless
Jericho called out MJF. So we're not getting another 5-on-5 match, obviously.
God, I hope not. I really hope not.
So MJF has to go over Jericho, right?
Yeah, I think that's it can happen one of two ways. It can be the 5-on-5 where once again they kind of booked it jacked up. If you wanted to go that route, you should have started with, the singles and then built up to that point. Have Stadium Stampede be the blow-off match, whatever the case may be. Obviously, you didn't do that. So I guess we're working ass backwards a little bit to the point where now you have MJF and Jericho. It's got to be a step match. I mean, at this point, you just can't have these two guys just walk in the ring and have this thing be a match. So, A, you got to figure out what the step is, and then B, MJF has to go over. I know I might have jumped the gun a little bit where I thought the Pinnacle should have won both step matches, and that's fine. I'm willing to accept that.
I was with you there, though.
No, I had a little pushback on Twitter, and I can kind of agree with that a little bit, where one group wins.
Do tell. You had some pushback on Twitter, huh?
One group, one faction wins one match. One faction, he's like, what the fuck, man? Do you not know how to, feuds work? I'm like, well, yeah, but I mean, shit, in this scenario.
Who was pushing back on you? Some fucking idiots?
Yeah,
Some fucking Twitter idiots?
You know how it
that have
works.
never done anything in their entire life.
But now I know how to book matches like I do. And I was just like, well, no, I don't think it should have been in that scenario, because I really think that my keys are right there on the...
I can't open this beer.
I know, guys. Right there. I was going to say, grab my keys on the... stop. Right there. I really think this is a scenario where I thought Pinnacle should have been booked stronger in the sense of having them win these matches and then having the Inner Circle break up. Because as far as I'm concerned, the Inner Circle doesn't even have to be a thing, okay? Sammy Guevara is over. Chris Jericho is over. Oh, I took... Damn, that's right. Security took my shit off. Find my...
Never mind. Just keep talking.
No, I was going to say, find my black bag. Jericho's over. Sammy Guevara is over. If you really put an effort behind Santana Ortiz, they're over. Especially with FTR apparently on deck. If you stop, fucking around and doing Stadium Stampede shit and actually have them, have matches, winners the number one contender, quiet as it's kept, I really think that Santana Ortiz is going to take the titles away from the Young Bucks. Nobody's in this room, so I can say this, and I'm calling it now. Santana Ortiz are going to take the titles off the Young Bucks. Now, all that being said, you can really do it to where the Inner Circle could have lost both matches, especially the Stadium Stampede match, and have them go their separate ways. Shawn Spears might be getting lost in the lurch or whatever. Jake Hager, same way. He can get lost in the lurch. I don't think it's the end of the inner circle per se. I think it needs to be more so about the Pinnacle, especially when they're the new faction that needs to get over, and you need to have them be as strong as humanly possible.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, the inner circle, man. Just break them up. That's what they should have done already.
I think part of the reason why they're keeping them together is because they're getting ready to go out on tour.
Cheers to you guys.
Cheers to you.
This is a very unprofessional pod.
No, I was about to say, I should have let you go first.
No, we're leaving everything in. Like, I had to open up my beer. We left it all in. Now we just did a shot.
It's not like we haven't done it before. I'll just say this, and then you can take it from here. The Pinnacle being the new faction, and it's the Pinnacle. So how are you going to have the Pinnacle of wrestling factions lose significant matches? That, to me, makes little to no sense.
Mean, it's just a name. Like, do you think the best friends are actually the best friends? Or do you think me and you are the best friends?
They hug it out like best friends.
Well, me and you hug it out.
Okay.
So are we the best friends? I'm just saying, just because they call themselves...
I'm like, if not the inner circle, but like, the second tier down. If like, shit went
for me?
south. Yeah.
No, you're in the inner circle, dude.
You're
in the inner circle. We're the pinnacle of friends.
I didn't know. I didn't want to, overrate myself.
I would have thought, and maybe AEW thinks a lot more of MJF to think that he's being able to, take these losses. I would have thought that Jericho would have put over MJF a lot harder. Now, this is not saying that Jericho hasn't put over MJF completely over the last year, because they've been doing stuff. Those two together have been doing stuff forever. The inner circle has been there since AEW showed up on weekly television, and I just think it's run its course, and I'm not looking forward to another summer of building to another series of matches between FTR and LAX and Jericho and MJF and Swagger and Wardlow and Spears, and I just said Swagger again, didn't I?
Yeah.
And Spears and Sammy Guevara.
I don't even think we're going to get that last match, honestly. I think Sammy Guevara, I think, is on the way to bigger and better things. Shawn Spears, God bless him. I hope his wife gets over. Is his wife, girlfriend, whatever? I hope, she gets over there sooner versus later. But, we'll see what happens.
Kenny Omega and Don Callis have a funny thing backstage with Alex Marvez. Then we have Jungle Boy and Christian versus Private Party. Jungle Boy and Christian sells most of the match. He does the hot tag to Jungle Boy, who gets the pin.
No problem with that.
No,
the way it should be.
No, that is the way it should be.
Keep the number one contender as hot as humanly possible.
And it Christian's more than happy to do the job and to give Jungle Boy the hot tag.
See the Mark Henry talk about, is he going to be that? No, I don't think he's going to be that guy. I think it's going to be more backstage than anything.
Well, Mark Henry is not the wrestler that Christian is.
No, but I don't think he's going to come in and, pull a Bill Goldberg and, take the AEW championship off of Kenny Omega.
No, of course.
That's just silly.
No, of course not. And then Matt Hardy does a twist of fate on Christian. That's a match I'm not looking forward to. We've seen Matt Hardy versus Christian for literally 22 years.
I was going to say forever.
Literally 22 years. I mean, the first TLC match was 1999, so they had probably been wrestling before that.
Ugh. God.
So 23 years.
God,
that's a long fucking time.
I'll just assume that there's something behind that match that's going to bridge us to something else.
I don't want to see
on the surface. Well, yeah, I mean, on the surface, we've seen it. You know what I'm saying? Not unless you're just, new to professional wrestling. you've seen that match in some form or fashion. So
Can you imagine being new to professional wrestling and wanting to watch those two geezers fight?
If you don't know, you don't know. Okay, when you have your child and you plop him or her down.
What, little Jason Cornelius?
No, I was going to say, never mind. I'm going to hold that thought. I haven't. Actually, we're going to do a poll. Okay, that's the next poll coming out. What do you think the sex of Bill Vegas' child is going to be? Male or female? Obviously, we're just going to keep it simple. I'm going to put it up on Twitter as soon as we get out of here.
We're just going to keep it simple.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I know how you motherfuckers get. I know my guess. I'm going to keep it until the very, very end.
What's your guess?
I'm not going to tell you.
Say it.
I'm not going to tell you.
Come on. My parents won't tell me their guesses either. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you
Okay,
people?
fine.
Okay.
If I had to put money down on it,
Yeah.
I think you're going to have a girl.
Vicky Guerrero Vega.
I hope she ain't coming out that loud.
Zelina Vega Vega. Oh, that's pretty good, actually.
I think you're having a girl. That's just my gut. It's not like I'm looking at her
I've
and
switched
like,
now. I have switched.
Her stomach's small or whatever.
I have thought that we're having a girl forever, and I've completely done a 180 now. And now I think it's a boy.
Just in this scenario that I just painted right there, if you had to catch up on the pod and who's on your lap, I think it would be more ironic as it being a girl.
Oh, my little baby.
Right, than a boy. That's just me. I'm on record. As long as you're going to throw it out there, I think he's going to have a girl.
Thank you for telling me.
Hey,
I
no
think it's a boy. Team Taz comes out, and they call out Adam Page, and Brian Cage is still moving towards being a babyface. I don't know if there's that much more to say about this, except Ricky Starks looked like he walked away pissed off that he wasn't in the tag team match that was going to be.
Well, I think we all kind of know that he can't wrestle. So in that scenario, it doesn't play very well into the kayfabe portion of it. I get it. If you never would have thrown out the fact that Ricky Starks had a neck injury, it could kind of play into this more. As it stands right now, I'm just kind of waiting to see the Brian Cage face turn because it's happening. It's just
it's happening for sure. Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page cut a pretty good promo on Sting, and Sting and Darby Allin. I think it's kind of funny that Page and Sky say to Darby Allin, "Why don't you find somebody who's like what were they even asking for? Find somebody who's younger, so we'll have a better chance of winning." It just doesn't make any sense.
And that's my biggest problem with that.
I mean, he's just like the only protection that Sting has is kayfabe protection.
Right.
That's it.
Okay. So I beat you there. Now you're going to ask me to find somebody that is probably a safe bet, younger than Sting. Maybe not as experienced as Sting, but younger than Sting.
Who else are they going to find that wears paint on their face?
About to say, you can put anybody at that
Glacier? Does Glacier? No, he
I was about to say, is he still alive?
Dink?
There's the bigger question.
Doink?
I guess there's my problem with Sky and Ethan Page. We're hitting their ceiling as a tag team.
Your problem after that shit is with Sky and Page?
No, I'm just saying.
Because my problem with that shit is with Sting and Darby Allin, who didn't even cut a promo. It was just Sting that came out and said thank you, and then Sky and Page cut a pretty good backstage promo.
Okay, with that,
a decent heel boilerplate promo.
I guess the logic behind the promo is my problem.
Well, yeah.
Okay, you want Sting to come back again. At least in kayfabe style.
Kayfabe style.
You want him to come back because you think you can get him again. Now, moving forward, if it's not Sting, then obviously who is it? I have no idea.
Who better than Canyon? Who is Sting gonna put over? Is Sting gonna put anybody over? This was your problem for 20 fucking years, Jason. Your problem for 20 fucking years was that Taker didn't put anybody over, and you don't seem to have the same problem with Sting here in AEW.
No, I would. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
got him speechless.
Yeah,
got him speechless.
Yeah.
Got him sputtering
Speechless,
all over himself.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I'll just say this much: if you're going to go with track record for track record, at least, and I'm not going to say at least, Sting doesn't have the 10-year, 20-year track record of Undertaker with WWE. I'll just say 10 to be a little nice.
Gracious.
Do I agree with what you're saying? Yes, I agree with what you're saying because I really think that Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page should have won at Double or Nothing because ultimately I don't think that Sting and Darby are going to be that tag team.
Now, see, can I take the AEW mark position here for a second?
Yeah.
And then let me shoot it down again? The AEW mark position would be, well, he's putting over Darby Allin because he's making Darby Allin's getting all these.
I think Darby Allin was already over before Sting even got here. But
well, there's that.
Yeah.
And then you also get, which Page and Sky leaned into in their promo, is that the only reason Darby Allin is there at all is because Sting is with him. So it's not really getting Darby Allin over. Darby Allin was already over. I agree. Darby Allin was over. I mean, despite whether I like him or not, he was over.
Right.
So he didn't need Sting.
No.
They decided to put him with Sting, which is fine.
And now we're getting to that point.
Now it's the Sting. It's the Sting show.
Right. A little bit. I agree with that. I'll just say this. If we want to go back to WCW, we can dig that up, and that's fine. I'm not going to sit here and say that I remember everything from WCW. I'll just say this. I agree with you for the AEW portion of this argument. It's really about Sting, and he really hasn't put anybody else over up to this point in the two matches he's been in.
He's beat some guys up.
Okay.
He's gotten beaten up.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say.
But, it matters in matches. Matches matter.
Whether you think wins or losses matter, the matches matter because we're talking about a storyline. And that's ultimately why we're here. We want to see where the story starts and finishes. The matches that Sting's been in, he's won.
All right. We've talked about most of the other stuff that happened. We talked about Kingston, Death Triangle. We talked about Miro. Britt Baker comes out to do her celebration. She gets her heat back by acting like there's free stuff underneath the...
Ain't no free stuff.
Underneath this, I know. It was good. Nyla Rose comes out and throws the hamburgers. I felt bad for the guys that were sitting in the front couple of rows because they were just getting probably cold-ass hamburgers, just hitting them in the...
I paid what for this?
Right.
I'll just say this. I like heel versus heel. I like face versus face because it's just different. It's non-traditional wrestling booking. Now, that said, I think we could have done something a little better than Nyla Rose throwing around burgers to get heel.
No doubt.
To get, not heel, but get heat.
They had 5 days to come up with something better.
Figure
than
it
that.
out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Looks like Evil Uno is fighting Miro. That Dark Order segment where they were all cheering up Evil Uno actually pissed me off. I thought it was stupid as fuck.
No argument here.
Okay. And then for the main event, really strange idea for a main event, if you ask me. If you're going to have a schmoz, why don't you have a schmoz with Penta and Pac and the Young Bucks with Eddie Kingston coming out instead of having Dustin Rhodes versus Nick Camarado, your boy, and then a schmoz coming after that with Billy Gunn's kid. Like, what's the... It seemed like an end of Raw segment where they were like, you know what? We already had all our viewers, so now we'll just throw this on at the end.
I cannot disagree with that. If it was me, I'd have switched it where this would have been the opening match, and then Bucks versus.
They clearly made a different decision, probably because of the timing of the show, because the show started at 9 Central, and it was over at 11. maybe they thought nobody else was watching.
No, everybody's watching. I mean, it's not necessarily getting the factory over is kind of more of the issue than anything else. If there was a match where you had Dustin and Cody versus Ogogo and Nick Camarado, it should be a split. I'm not sure how you want to do it. For me, okay, I get it. Cody's the guy. Cody wins at Double or Nothing, but this should have been the one where Nick Camarado wins. I don't care how you do it. Figure it out, whether it's fuckery or not.
Can I make a prediction?
Yeah.
The factory will never get over.
You're not booking them to get over, so you're not making me. I'll just speak for myself on this. You're not making me want to invest. You have a bunch of guys that are young that can do some things, but then when push comes to shove, let's just see Giannis Antetokounmpo. Okay.
You even tried to do the last name. I respect the fuck out of that, man. I really respect the shit out of that because I don't even try. It's just Giannis. Let's get to that 3 count.
1, 2, 3.
Just so you guys know, off of Mike, Jason and I have only been talking about the NBA playoffs. We do not talk about wrestling at all. We save all the wrestling stuff for the pod. So the 3 count is going to be NXT. We're going to get to some SmackDown stuff in the odds and ends. If that's what you guys are waiting for, you can fast forward to that if you need to hear me talk about how great Roman Reigns is and how cool this story with the Usos is. But really, we got to talk about NXT. NXT had a good night, I would say. I really liked NXT's night, and one of my favorite parts about it was the very first match, which was Austin Theory versus Oney Lorcan. I am an Oney Lorcan mark. This guy can really go, and Austin Theory did a move that even Wade Barrett, the great Wade Barrett, said
that springboard Spanish fly or whatever.
That springboard Spanish fly that Wade Barrett said he'd never seen before. And if he says he's never seen it before, I sure as shit have never seen it before. That was fucking fun, man.
No, it was a good match. I wish it would have did a little more heel versus heel, but then when you had Pete Dunne come out, that felt like the heel moment for, I'll just say, for the former Kings of NXT. And when Gargano came out, that felt like it was the face moment. So it was kind of like, back to being even Steven. I thought the match was really, really good. I was kind of hoping that Austin Theory would go over, but ultimately, I don't have a problem with this.
Yeah, it made sense.
No, I was going to say, Oney Lorcan is one of those guys that, to me, where if he would have came in now, I think he would be more of a contender for maybe a North American title, run. I think ultimately when Danny Burch comes back, they'll be back into the tag team scene. But don't sleep on Danny Lorcan. Oney Lorcan. He had a 205 run where he was ultimately, shot down for the championship a couple of times, but he has some good matches on that 205
He's
run.
a hard-hitting jobber, man. He does a lot of jobs, but man, he is.
I'm going to say the matches themselves are good. Him and Danny Burch hit hard, and they are going to be, once Danny Burch comes back, they're going to be a good tag team, and it'll be just add to the tag team scene.
Whose vignette did you like better? So it looks like we're going to have $1 million for the $1 million title. We're going to have, which isn't a real title, but it was a title that used to exist back in the 80s, maybe the early 90s. Looks like we're going to have
action too on top of it.
We're going to have LA Knight versus Cameron Grimes. They both had vignettes before the legend Ted DiBiase came out. Whose vignette did you like better? Because I know whose I liked better, and I think you know who I liked better too.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm going to take the guess. You're going to say Cameron Grimes, so I'm going to keep to my guns and say my gut reaction. I like LA Knights a little bit better just because it fits LA Knight. I mean, I'm sorry. Cameron Grimes is funny. Don't get me wrong. For the record, I like
LA
both.
Knight.
I like both, but LA Knight to me just felt like more heelish. To me, the $1 Million Man was one of the best heels before, I guess, the 90s or whatever, before NWO. Roddy Piper was one of my favorite heels. After Roddy Piper,
Ted DiBiase was the funniest slave owner in wrestling history.
And that, to me, leads me to LA Knight, because I think he can take that mantle and moving forward.
So does the winner of the $1 Million belt, does Ted DiBiase, is he their manager the whole time?
Ted DiBiase's got better shit to do than that. I'll just say this. If the $1 Million belt is going to be like the FTR title, then I'd rather you just do this, hang it up, and let's move along. Don't have the winner run around with the title, because then we're going to expect whoever it is to defend said title.
All right. Without getting into our predictions, then we had Bronson Reed and MSK come out and call out Legado del Fantasma, and it's going to be a winner-take-all 6-man match, which is MSK has the tag belts, Bronson Reed has the North American belt, and it's going to be Santos and LDF versus those three at In Your House NXT TakeOver. Are you okay with that stipulation? It seems a little quick to me. It seems like that was that's something that would happen at the end of a program that has lasted 2 or 3 months, and this is going to be the winner take all, and then it's going to be done. Is that a little quick to you? Am I wrong?
The hell no, you ain't wrong. Because as soon as they said it, I was just like, okay. Immediately, I'm thinking Becky, Seth, Corbin, and Lacey Evans. At least that had, as much as I hated it, and I'm pretty sure that was like on one of my worst feuds of the Beef Awards.
I think you picked it for your worst angle of the year.
Okay, so now this is how bad it was, at least for me.
This will be a better worked match.
Oh, without question. But I mean, damn, we just got here. Okay, can we not have 2 matches? Or like with Ciampa and Thatcher versus GYV, they're going to do it on
next
TV the following week. One of the other you can do 2 separate matches.
It is fucking unbelievable that Thatcher and Ciampa versus Grizzly Young Veterans are off of this pay-per-view.
And this one's on it.
No, not even that. Instead of Mercedes Martinez versus Zia Lee. Like, what the fuck?
That could be on NXT proper
of
and
course.
Just be done with it.
What are they doing? It doesn't make any sense to me.
We'll talk about that in a second. I'll just say this. Just for the subject at hand, I'm just not a huge fan of the fact that you could have done this angle on TV, been done with it, versus now you're making it one big-ass match. One of the other... The bad part about it is I don't think they built up either or to where they could be a match on its own. So now they're being cute and trying to do it as one big-ass match. We'll save the prediction for later. I'll just say this. One of the other should have been a match on the pay-per-view. The other shouldn't.
Io Shirai makes her return to Candice LeRae next to that pop star. I don't know what that chick's name is.
Poppy, who's fucking up Dexter and Indy Hartwell. So we'll talk about Io first. I was waiting, honestly, and maybe it's going to happen after SummerSlam, because the rumor is the WWE is going to have a draft after SummerSlam. I think it's that following weekend. I think SummerSlam is the third weekend of August. Then they'll have the draft that final weekend of August.
That's
sorry, man.
Right when my kid is getting born. This kid is ruining my life.
So with that being said, I really thought that Io was going to go.
Hey, unborn baby.
You're a nerd.
I really thought that Io was going to go up to the main roster beforehand. But now that being said, this feels like this is keeping Io around until we have this rumored, and I'm just going to keep it as rumored until we see otherwise, this rumored WWE draft. At that point, I expect Io to go over. this doesn't feel much to me more than just saying, hey, Io's still around. Don't forget about her. You know, you can't bully Poppy because she can do this, you know, drop of an album on her fucking cell phone.
All right.
God bless her.
Predictions are coming up real soon, but I really want to talk about this last segment because it was Karrion Kross was standing in the ring talking a ton of shit, saying, hey, come and get me. And then Kyle O'Reilly shows up in his jean jacket, which...
Cool Kyle O'Reilly.
Which Johnny Gargano goes, are you really going to stand there and be tossed to
when it
like
started
that
to
from
get
a
good.
guy with a jean jacket? Johnny
That's when it
Gargano
started to get good.
is so... Man, I mean, he could be my favorite wrestler going in WWE.
I'm so glad Zach's going. You about to say he might have a mini orgasm.
Oh, he
loves.
loves. Well, I've always loved Johnny Gargano. This is not a Zach thing. I'm a Johnny Gargano guy too.
No,
Whoa.
you saying that?
Whoa.
You saying that in this scenario, he might have had a mini orgasm.
It was really good. Pete Dunne, Karrion Kross was getting picked on. This is what I keep saying about Karrion Kross is that I don't think he's a heel at all.
This is a baby face.
It's
moment.
a baby face move to say, I'll take everybody, even if I don't get pinned to lose that belt. Fuck you guys. Everybody come at me. That's a baby face move, even though he's not really packaged like a baby face. And all of them were really going at him about how shitty of a champion he is.
I'd say, damn, he just got the title. Jesus.
I know, but they were really saying that.
Yeah, they're on him.
I mean, Adam Cole was saying that. Pete Dunne was saying that.
Adam Cole is, I'm sorry to cut you off, but to me, Adam Cole is the star of this whole fucking match.
Wow. Adam Cole's the star of every match he's in.
He's the star of NXT as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I know one guy. I know this guy has the title, but everything didn't matter until Adam Cole kicked Karrion Kross in the mouth, and then that's why I was like, oh.
I knew it too. I was like, when he was up on that screen, I was like, he's gonna come down.
It was just when and where, and then when it felt like Kross was that guy, and he was on top of things. Next thing you know, here comes fucking Adam Cole and laying him out,
baby.
So.
It was a good segment.
No, it was a good segment. It just took a little bit to get there, but then once the ball got to rolling, then I was like, okay, I'm still a little trepid about this Fatal 5-Way, but I think it's going to work itself out. I'm not sure how it's going to get done, but I think it's going to ultimately be a good match and be a good close to the takeover segment.
All right, that's going to do it for our 3 counts. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
1, 2, 3.
All right. You know what time it is, right? Mm-hmm. It's time for predictions. So, in your house, NXT TakeOver is this week. Sunday, exclusively
on Peacock. For those Impact fans, Impact Plus against all odds. Moose versus Kenny Omega. That should be a good-ass match as well. Plenty of other undercards, but Moose versus Kenny Omega should be a good-ass match. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So let's start off with Mercedes Martinez versus Zia Lee. They're just mad at each other. Nothing on the line. They're just pissed.
Yeah, right. I'll go first. I got a problem with just at least the booking of this because, I mean, if you're Zia Lee and Bao, I mean, goddamn, how much ass kicking do you have to take, and then you have to jump Mercedes Martinez from behind? I mean, distractions, all this other, smoke and mirrors. Zia Lee should be a fucking monster at this point. She should have been racking up fucking match after match after match, victory after victory, and now you have Mercedes Martinez in her way on the way to the title. All that being said, I'm going to still take Zia Lee on this one. I just don't think that Mercedes Martinez, and don't get me wrong, she's an amazing talent. Just booking wise,
she's awesome. She is awesome.
Booking wise, I really think that this is going to be more about Zia Lee versus Mercedes Martinez.
I agree, but I think that Mercedes Martinez might be the most talented woman, save for Io Shirai, on NXT.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Because I mean, honestly,
I will also take XL.
Honestly, I would say this, and maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. If she would have never went to the main roster with Retribution, things could be a little different for Mercedes Martinez. I'll say that and leave it at that.
All right. Raquel Gonzalez versus Ember Moon for the NXT Women's Championship. I should also say that Zach also took Xylee. I'll let Zach go here first. He goes with Raquel Gonzalez. I'll go next. It's too early to take the belt off of Raquel Gonzalez. I think that Ember Moon is a better wrestler. I think that Ember Moon is a better personality. I think that overall she's a better talent. But they obviously see something in Raquel Gonzalez, so I see them keeping it on Raquel Gonzalez.
I would concur on all accounts. Io Shirai coming back isn't necessarily an accident, especially when they cross paths backstage. I think they do that one more again before Io goes up to the main roster. I'll take Raquel Gonzalez as well.
All right, let's get into some fun ones.
Please.
Bronson Reed and MSK versus Legado del Fantasma. The winner takes all. I'll let you go first.
God, I wish. I'll go this far. If they wouldn't have put a winner takes all stip on this, I really wouldn't have taken my prediction either way, whether it's singles or tag team. I'll take the baby faces on this one. Bronson Reed just got it. And I really think that the winner of GYV versus Thatcher and Ciampa are the next guys up versus, in this case, I'm taking MSK, obviously. So, yeah, MSK and Bronson Reed to retain.
I wish I would have put the Thatcher Ciampa versus GYV on here. I wish that match would have been on the takeover.
Yes. I think that
there's no way they take it off of MSK right now. I could see them taking it off of Bronson Reed. Is that what you just said?
Essentially, yeah. It's just too early. Okay, I love Santos Escobar.
Yeah.
Love Santos Escobar.
Yeah, he's badass.
Okay,
and obviously he's not going to take the pin.
No, it would be one of the other two guys.
They are super high on MSK, and there's no way they're taking it off of MSK to put it on Zema Ion and that other guy.
Raul Mendoza. You ain't shit. God damn, you pulled out Zema Ion.
I like Zema Ion.
No, he's all right.
Zach has the same thing. So then we have Cameron Grimes versus L.A. Knight. I'm going to let you go first.
Yeah, I'll go first.
I know who I'm taking.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know who you're taking. I like the angle. I like the whole build to this.
It's been good.
It's been good. It feels like it's two guys basically going for the same goals, but they're going about it two different ways. I didn't go to the refrigerator. So
you're fine.
Fuck. I really want LA Knight to win it. I really do. It just feels right. He would be such a good fucking heel running the $1 million fucking legacy, making kids do just all kinds of ignorant shit for $100. When I was 9, I did 10 cartwheels for $100. Do you?
I don't want to hear what you would do for $100 when you were 9.
I didn't know anything about more than that. That being said, I'm going to take Cameron Grimes.
Joke I just made.
You're right.
Might be the filthiest fucking joke I've ever
made. Dude, I'm 9 years old. What the fuck? I'm going to take Cameron Grimes on this one.
What the fuck is wrong with me?
Oh, no. Maybe you shouldn't get that other fireball. I'm going to take Cameron Grimes. I think ultimately even if they don't make Cameron Grimes defend this title, I think this is the ultimate move that's going to get Cameron Grimes over more. I really think LA Knight / Eli Drake is already over. Cameron Grimes needs a little bit of something. I think this might be a little bit of something.
I think that Cameron Grimes has paid his dues. I also think that this feud will not be done with this, and they're going to let it ride for a little bit longer. And I think the idea of LA Knight being super frustrated with a cocky Cameron Grimes is a better story than Cameron Grimes being frustrated with the super cocky LA Knight. Because Cameron Grimes is such...
God damn.
Like, this is such a...
I didn't think that I would like this as much as I really
did. It's such a comedy angle, and it's been a really good comedy angle.
When they both pulled up...
Dude, it's been good.
I was like, oh, here we go. Here we go. It's like, oh, you can drive that, whatever, piece of shit back over to the... and that's why I like. LA Knight's driving himself. Cameron Grimes is having somebody drive him. So it's that dichotomy off the jump. And how they are approaching this match itself, it's been different.
There's not a whole lot of good comedy angles that don't involve Toriano.
This is this has been one of the better ones.
So for the NXT Championship, Heavyweight Championship,
by your way.
I'm gonna cut that out later.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let Zach go first, just so you can see what I've seen. So from least to most, Zach has Johnny Gargano as the least.
What the shit?
Kyle O'Reilly. Then he's got Pete Dunne. Then he has Karrion Kross. Then he has Adam Cole Bebe as the most likely to win. I'm going to go a little opposite here. Or not completely opposite, but I'll let you go last.
Okay.
I'm going to go Pete Dunne as the least.
Really?
Yeah. And then I'm going to go Gargano. This is fucked up because it feels like they're not high on Karrion Kross. Either that or it's the way for them to put Karrion Kross over the hugest. I'm going Karrion Kross the most likely. I'm going to go Kyle O'Reilly the second most likely. I'm going Adam Cole third. So from least to most, I'm going Dunne, Gargano, Cole, O'Reilly, Karrion Kross. That is not what I thought I was going to do when I started filling that out.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like you're filling out a NCAA bracket,
Oops.
Oh, shit. Stanford's beating Duke? Oh.
They rebound very well. They
do.
Stanford does rebound very well. Shout out Mark Madsen in the house.
I was just going to say Mark Madsen.
Yeah.
We're so old. That dude has already retired.
He's got what?
From the NBA. He's got a ring.
Just one?
Maybe two.
I was going to say, I thought you had two, but neither here nor there.
I'll look it up.
Least to most, least I'm going with Johnny Gargano. I think that no matter what happens, I think he can always jump back in to either the main title, the picture, or the NXT title, or the North American title picture. Shit, here we go. Man, damn. I'm going to go Pete Dunne fourth. There's no reason behind it. I think, once again, Pete Dunne could easily jump back in for the winner. God damn it, I hate this shit. I'll go Kyle O'Reilly 3. Somehow I think he gets the winner of the last two guys that I have left on deck, because you can make a connection either way. I'm going to go with the fact that the WWE draft is upcoming. I'm going to go Adam Cole 2. I'm going to go Karrion Kross to retain. It makes sense that if anybody picks Adam Cole, it makes sense. I wouldn't have a problem with that. You can run back Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole. You can run back Karrion Kross, Johnny Gargano. There's options, and that's all what I always say about if you're going to make the title change. You better have options moving forward. Adam Cole has a ton of options. Karrion Kross is starting to lose a little options. Maybe not. I don't know. I think the fact that I don't think I know who he is a problem. But I still think he's going to retain.
But you're taking him number one.
I still think he's going to retain. I think they don't take him. If they had to take one or two of those two guys, Cole or Karrion Kross, away from NXT to move to their main roster, because ultimately that's the move. Adam Cole is ready. Karrion Kross isn't.
This is banned from ringside.
All right, we got some odds and ends here. Roman Reigns is doing tremendous work with the Usos on SmackDown. Tremendous.
He coached.
That's really great storytelling. I mean, the fact that the Usos lost in the opening of SmackDown and their shoulder was up, but Reigns was still pissed off. And then Adam Pearce stops the Mysterios as they're leaving.
Right.
And tells them, no, you guys got to come back. And they're like, well, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Hold on.
And then they won again because Roman Reigns says, I got to clean up you guys' mess, and starts clocking and then fucking puts the hurt on Dom Mysterio. It makes sense because as a good little midway title match for Roman Reigns, he's going to fight Rey Mysterio probably. I mean, that makes sense.
No,
Rey Mysterio is
going down.
He's a Hall of Fame SmackDown guy, you know.
No, it's going down. I don't have. I'll say this, and I've said it multiple times. This is one of those pay-per-views I think Roman Reigns could take the pay-per-view off. The fact that you're having it on here is great, but we all know what's getting ready to happen. It's just now, how do you get from Rey Mysterio to who's next?
I mean, who cares? Just worry about what's in front of you.
SummerSlam's up. I mean, shit, you got to pack.
SummerSlam's in Vegas.
You have to pack
So the rumors,
Vegas.
thank you for bringing it up. Great segue. You're a pro. The rumors about SummerSlam is that it's going to be John Cena versus Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. Does that get you excited?
It would make me more excited if it was Lashley. I'm sorry, if it was Lesnar versus Roman, because you have Paul Heyman as the middle guy. I think that it takes care of itself. Lashley, I think Raw is it's in such a funk right now to where even if Lashley beats Drew, I don't think that's enough.
Raw could be the worst TV show on television. It is awful.
Despite where AEW is plummeting in their Friday night segment, Raw is plummeting even worse.
The end of Raw was that fucking segment with Alexa Bliss, or whatever you call it, Alexa's Playground.
Yeah.
With Shayna Baszler.
Yeah.
I mean, it turned into a fucking shitty horror movie.
Yeah.
Well, but don't you need to have Lesnar versus Lashley? Aren't we looking forward to that?
That's what Lashley wants. I think that's what. Either way,
it's big money.
As long as Lesnar's in this mix, I think that would be great. I'll take a step back. If I had to pick it, I would go Lesnar, Lashley for SummerSlam, and then if Roman Reigns, which I would think he would hold the title to WrestleMania 2022, now bring me Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, but you can't really plan out like that because you don't know who's going to be hurt. You don't know if there's going to be another fucking pandemic.
No, I agree.
Life is now. You got to live it now, Jason. Live it now.
Fuck, okay, if you're going to make me take it right now, then give me Roman versus Brock Lesnar right now. Just be done with it. So that way, now Roman Reigns gets his fucking redemption.
This guy is a mark.
Keep it moving. Sorry.
The Viking Raiders are the new number 1 contenders against AJ and Omos. On an NXT show, they could have a great match.
Fuck that. They broke up the Hurt Business for this bullshit. Kiss my ass. I hope fucking AJ and Omos stomps a motherfucker mud hole in their Milwaukee Drive.
This is banned from ringside.
We got some birthdays this week. Hikaru Shida is 31. Mark Henry, the aforementioned,
Multiple.
50.
That's it?
Yep.
I'm 3 years older than Mark Henry.
You're 3 years younger than him.
Yeah. God.
Jerry Lynn, who's a fun guy. Fun wrestler. Jerry Lynn, 58.
What's that supposed to be? Hold up. What's that supposed to be?
Jerry Lynn had a bunch of good matches. I've seen a bunch of old Jerry Lynn matches. I like watching them. Didn't he fight RVD a whole bunch?
Yeah, he did.
Didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Are you throwing shade on Jerry Lynn?
No.
Okay,
no.
That's why I was good. That's ultimately where I was going.
Didn't Jerry Lynn and RVD have like a bunch of classic matches?
Yes, sir.
Or am I completely off?
No, ECW.
Because all these fucking nerds on
here
Twitter,
it is.
they come at me when I say stuff like this. It's the end of the podcast. I've been drinking for an hour and a half. I might have had a couple shots. Might have smoked a bowl.
One.
And these guys, but didn't Jerry Lynn have a bunch of good matches?
Yes. Versus
no,
RVD.
I wasn't throwing shade at him.
I know. That was when you were like, you're rolling your eyes or whatever at the beginning.
Did I roll my eyes?
This is me at the end saying that
Virgil. This motherfucker's only 59.
I'm calling horse shit on that.
I don't know. I looked it up on the internet. Virgil's birthday is this week.
So everything on the internet's right?
No, not necessarily.
There's so many jokes there. But I'll take
59.
Yeah, I'll take Virgil at 59. Fair enough.
I hope he's okay.
He's still alive.
No, I know he's still alive. I just hope he's okay.
Dude, Virgil is getting more love on the internet past, beating Ted DiBiase like 20 years ago than he could ever have at this
Chuck
point.
Palumbo from the Billy and Chuck. Chuck Palumbo played basketball at Southeast Missouri State in Cape Girardeau.
This angle. You love this angle.
Oh, I loved Billy and Chuck.
I hated this angle.
It was the first gay thing you had ever. Still like the only gay thing you've ever seen on wrestling. Question. I mean, and it was fun. Man, it was funny. It was funny. You didn't like Rico?
No.
Bailey is 32. Ultimate Warrior.
R.I.P. Obviously.
I mean, rest in piss. He's 62. He would have been 62.
Have you seen the Dark Side or the...
I got them all recorded.
Okay.
I started watching the Jimmy Snuka one today. Fuck Jimmy Snuka.
Dark Side Jimmy Snuka?
Yeah, I'd never
seen it.
You
haven't seen it?
No.
Wow.
No. I started watching it today. Because I have Hulu, so I went to watch the one that you and Zach were talking about.
Right. The Grizzly Smith one.
And it's not on Hulu yet. It's only on my TV, so right. I'm watching it on my iPad while I'm working. Don't listen, bosses. But I started watching it, and I was like, oh, Jimmy Snuka, like, he should have died. Yeah, he should have gone to jail.
Amongst other things.
Ultimate Warrior 62, Jungle Boy this week, 24.
Couple weeks, man.
Yeah.
Big title match against Kenny Omega if he holds the title.
Keep it going. Jungle Boy, you're a stud. Hey, everybody. We know there's tons of podcasts to listen to, so we appreciate you listening to our podcast.
Sing it, Daddy.
For Vice.
Check.
For Tinder Mahal. For
Check.
Lucha Chris.
Check.
For Murray the Murray Man Murray. For F&B Eatery. For Bill's
R.I.P.
Beer
check.
Company.
Big check.
For Jack Patrick's. For
really?
Jason Cornelius Bell.
Check.
Sure, yeah, what the fuck?
Double check.
Support your local weed dealers.
Yeah.
Support your local restaurants. Black
check.
Lives Matter. And
Damn
everybody
Skippy.
boo the heels.